everybody, it is Jen Lefforge. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a Disney Vacation Club story time. I'm going to tell you about our rather strange journey. Just recently, we bought one DVC contract. We sold another DVC contract. Something happened that has never happened to us before. And I hope that in the midst of me telling my tale, you might learn a few things, especially if buying Disney Vacation Club is something that you are interested in. And I'm really glad that you're here. So if you've never been to my channel before, we have owned Disney Vacation Club since 2012. Oh, and before I forget, will you please give this video a big thumbs up? I'm supposed to tell you to do that. It's good for the algorithm, it's good for the channel, and it allows other people to find my content, which is super important here on the YouTubery. So 2012, we bought our first DVC contract, and it was a Vero Beach resale contract. We paid $55 a point. And since then, we have bought and sold DVC multiple times. We have bought on the resale market, we have bought direct from Disney, and we own at two different home resorts, Old Key West and another one that I'm going to wait till the end to tell you as a surprise. And it's been a wonderful journey for our family. They have made amazing memories. Our kids have grown up going to Disney. They're not really going with us currently. Scott and I are now happily going on our own. If you watch the channel, you know I go by myself a lot, which will play into why we ended up buying the direct contract that we just recently purchased. And we really love Disney Vacation Club. Do I think it's for everyone? Absolutely not. And in the current environment, it may not even make financial sense for your family. And I'll get into that a little later on. But if you want kind of DVC 101, this may not be the best video for you to start with, although I love that you're listening to it. I have a whole playlist, one of which in particular is like, if you're just thinking of DVC, start here. So you may want to go watch one of those. I'll put a link up here and down in the description as well so that you can easily find that. But basically, Disney Vacation Club is Disney's timeshare. It isn't some, it's just as simple as that. People try to dress it up as, oh, it's not really a timeshare. Y'all, it is. It's a timeshare, and by and large, timeshares are a terrible idea. Disney does seem to be an exception to that in that you can get out of it. You can sell it if you want to. We have multiple times, but that of course is never guaranteed. And you really want to make sure financially that it's something that you're able to do because it is a huge investment. What happens is you pay an initial purchase price and then annual dues. And what you get for that initial purchase price and annual dues is an allotment of points. And you use those points for stays at Disney properties, at several other different timeshare properties. You can use them for the cruise line. You can use them for Adventures by Disney, although PS, don't do that. It's a terrible use of points. And basically what you're doing is prepaying for your vacations and creating a little bit of a hedge against the big I word, which is, as we know, inflation. So that's Disney Vacation Club in a nutshell. It has allowed us to stay in villas with a washer dryer and a kitchen in deluxe resorts that, quite frankly, our family never would have been able to afford otherwise. And I always laugh when people say like DVC is for rich people. Friends, rich people do not buy timeshares. Rich people just stay wherever they want to stay. It's people like us that like want to have a fridge and want to be able to not pack as much and do laundry. And, you know, we pack crock pots. Like we're a pretty thrifty group. So do the math, see if it's right for you. But the story that I'm going to tell you is one that's filled with interesting turns and twists and things that had never happened to the Lefforges before. And I'm going to warn you, it's going to be chatty. So get yourself a cup of coffee, tea, wine. I'm not going to judge, whatever. And let's just talk DVC. Okay, so here's what happened. I, as you know, have a Disney-focused YouTube channel, which means that part of that is I like to go and stay in the latest and greatest Disney resorts so that I can review them for you guys. I want to be able to stay in all of the resorts. And one of our resale contracts was purchased under the strictest restrictions that they have now, which means that I cannot use them to stay at Riviera or any of the new resorts that Disney is going to build. I'm not sure if they've said definitively if that's going to include the tower at Disneyland that's being built. I'm assuming that it is. And we realized that it was going to become really important that I be able to stay at all of the new resorts. So we wanted to unload that resale contract and then purchase direct from Disney from one of the newer resorts. Okay, fine. So I called up my friend Rachel at Resales DVC, and I will put, it's a family-owned business. I love them. This is the third time we've worked with them. Not sponsored. They did not pay me to say this, but I will put all their information down in the description box. Love them. Called up Rachel. I'm like, hey, Rachel, we want to sell this contract. She talked with me about what a reasonable price would be, kind of what the market was doing, what to expect. We couldn't close until October because we have a trip coming up in October, and you can't close if you have obviously a trip booked. So I kind of expected it to stay on the market for a while. We asked what I felt like was a reasonable price. I wasn't really interested in haggling with anybody. And then I just sort of left it alone and went on my merry way. Well, she called and she actually had a couple that wanted to make an offer, and they were actually asking over asking, which I thought that was kind of weird, but I have since come to find out why they did that. And I was like, sure, we'll accept that offer. So we accepted the offer, and it was sent off to what is called right of first refusal. Now, the cool thing is I was able to do all of the DocuSign and everything. Nothing had to be notarized. Nothing had to be mailed in to anybody. It was all done from the privacy of our own home. Very quick. Like, I think I emailed Rachel originally on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday, the listing was up on their website. So that part was all very fast. The offer was all very fast. We signed everything, went to right of first refusal. Now, what right of first refusal is, and you probably know if you clicked on this video, but Disney always reserves the right to purchase back any contracts that are floating around on the resale market. So it goes to Disney to decide if they want to buy it or if they want to pass. If they want to buy it, then they do. So as the seller, we were covered either way. If they pass, then the people that are buying it from you become the new owners. Okay. So I got a call from her just a few days ago, and she said, hey, Jen, Disney has decided to exercise their right of first refusal. So everything will happen as planned, but unfortunately our buyers are out of luck and Disney will buy your timeshare. So, okay, that's fine. She was like, the good news is it'll be a really quick and easy closing because it is through Disney. You don't have to worry, which did make me feel a little better since we're not traveling until October. And I kind of wanted to, I didn't really want it to be complicated. So yeah, so that happened. Now, why is Disney buying back so many resale contracts right now? Because I think I read on DVC News that number is something like 60 or 70% they are buying back. I'm assuming that our buyers were experienced and had maybe lost out on some other contracts, which is why they had offered over asking price. But my theory is that especially resorts like Old Key West that have a 2042 expiration, they're trying to buy those up because if they own them, they can extend that expiration to 2057, but only for Old Key West, although they are purchasing back a lot of the older resorts. And then that allows them to resell them with a bright and shiny 2057 expiration date. So I don't really know their reasoning why. If you have a speculation, feel free to put that in the comment box below. I'm sure others would love to hear that, but they are buying back a ton of contracts. So I feel terrible for our buyers. If you're out there and you get to see everybody's name, so I actually do know their name, but I'm obviously not going to say it because I'm not that person. I'm so sorry. Like I felt so bad, but there's obviously nothing I can do about it. It's a legal thing that Disney absolutely has the right to do that, and they decided to exercise their right. So we will now close in October, and that contract is sold. I will tell you, we made a very decent profit on the sale, even closing costs and everything. So it worked out really, really well for us, and we are very happy once again with our experience with Rachel and with her team. So there's that piece of it. Now, I knew we wanted to buy another contract. We didn't want to have that many more points than we already did. A few more was going to be okay, but we really are happy with the total amount of points. So we just knew we needed to add on somewhere direct from Disney. Now, where I decided to add on, you guys are going to be like, Jen, seriously? I know. So adding on at the Riviera is a terrible idea for multiple reasons. Chief of which is the resale restrictions, because if you sell those contracts, whoever buys them can literally only use the points at the Riviera. It is a ridiculous restriction. I don't know why Disney did it. It's terrible for buyers. It is the main reason I have really dissuaded people from purchasing the Riviera. And then the other reason is the obnoxious point requirements to stay in the regular studios 1 and 2 bedrooms. I mean, it's like almost double the amount of points of my other contract, which is my beloved, frugal Old Key West. However, then I stayed there, and I always think there was a line, Gates McFadden was once on Mad About You. If any of those terms were at all familiar to you, I know how old you are. And she was playing this part of a movie producer. I don't know why this sticks in my head, but Scott and I say this line all the time. And Paul Reiser's character was an indie movie producer. And Gates McFadden said, you know, I was like you. I was idealistic. And they're trying to get him to come work for this big conglomerate. She's like, and then I got in my brother's Mercedes and I thought, this is a very nice car. So this is me in the Riviera. I'm like, I was like you. I thought it was a terrible idea. I thought it was a complete ripoff. And then I stayed in the Riviera and I thought, this is a very nice resort. So it wasn't just that I think it's a very nice resort. For me, as someone who travels solo a lot, I love the security of the Riviera. I love that you need to have a room key to even get into the building after a certain time at night. And I love those tower studios. Because I travel by myself, they're actually kind of perfect for me. And I would say at this point, I'm traveling solo roughly half the time. So now roughly half of our DVC points are the Riviera Resort. Yay! I know. And for buying direct, I got this beautiful DVC backpack. Let me just say, it's not beautiful. It's actually a really, really cheap, awful backpack. So do not buy, direct just because you want this backpack. It ain't worth it, friends. I would not carry this backpack. Sorry, if you love yours, I'm so happy for you, but no. I actually have one of the OG tote bags from one of our first contracts. Now that was a nice perk. That's a nice bag. Okay, so where was I? So here's what happened with us buying the direct contract. Like, this will just blow your mind. This blew my mind. So we decided, we had the cash to pay it off, but we decided to put it on our Disney Visa just to be convenient. And then you automatically get 6 months interest free if you put it on your Disney Visa. And we have the Premier one, so we got double points. So I got roughly $500 in reward points that I then turned around and put directly towards our annual dues. So that all worked out beautifully. And then don't worry, I'm paying it off within the 6 months. So nobody like clutch your pearls. I'm not paying no 24% interest rate on my DVC contract. That would be stupid. Don't do that. But if you can afford to pay it off within the 6 months or move money around and pay it off within the 6 months, then that's a great way to go. But here's the crazy part. So I call up Christina. Hi, Christina, it's Jen. I know I said I never wanted to buy Riviera. I don't know why I'm doing this. Is this even a phone? No. I know I said I, would never buy Riviera. I actually ranted to you about the restrictions. By the way, Christina Harrison, if you're looking for a great guide, adore her. But stayed there, changed my mind. Now I want to stay there. So she was like, well, if you want to buy this much instead of this much, you'll get extra incentives. So it actually only is this much more. I was like, okay, let's do that. It was like a 25-point increase. So, okay, fine. So we'll buy 25 more points than we had planned. And talked about, how do you want to pay for it? I'm like, well, we're not financing. I have the cash. She's like, well, if you use your Disney Visa, then you'll get the rewards points and it's 6 months, no interest, and you can put the whole amount on there. I was like, okay, let's do that. By the way, you do have to have enough credit limit, obviously, to cover that. So be aware. So did that. The entire phone call, kid you not. In fact, no, I can't show you because I looked back at the phone call because I couldn't believe it. Less than 12 minutes. I was stunned that I could spend that much money in less than 12 minutes. Now, granted, it's because we were existing owners. She matched our existing use year with our other contracts, which is super important if you are wanting to use like combined contracts at the 7-month mark. You want them to have, just for ease of use, you want them to have the same use year. So she was able to match our December use year. So that was all perfect. And within 2 hours, the points were loaded in my account. floored. Now, we hadn't actually closed yet. It still had to go to legal and some stuff had to be signed and all of this. But basically, the minute you pay for it, the points get loaded in your account and they're available for use. I seriously have never spent so much money so quickly in my life. I hung up the phone. I called Scott. I was like, I mean, he knew I was doing it, obviously, but I was like, I can't, that can't have happened that quickly. So, and then I just kind of sat there going, was that a good idea? Was that stupid? I don't know. But I've since decided it was not stupid. I'm very happy with our purchase. If we decide to sell down the line, which is doubtful, because honestly, our DVC is kind of part of our overall retirement plan because we're prepaying for all those vacations. Oh, I didn't even tell you guys, the other reason why I bought Riviera is because it expires in 2070, which is when I will be 100 years old. So my big plan is to have my 100th birthday be at the Riviera. So, and we'll probably borrow points because we always borrow points. So, you know, it'll be my 99th birthday. We will celebrate at the Riviera. I just thought that was so funny. And it was on the fence. And then when I saw that the expiration date was was my 100th year on the earth, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do that. I don't know. Sometimes I just do things. I've worked really hard in my life. Leave me alone. Okay. So we did that. So I have now had two things happen to me that had never happened before. Disney exercised right of first refusal, and we bought a direct contract from Disney using a credit card, and it took 12 minutes. So you too can have that amazing experience, and you too can have this beautiful DVC backpack. Don't buy direct for the backpack. So I get asked this question all the time, and this is what I'm going to end this video with. Knowing what I know now, would I buy DVC today? And it's a very complicated answer for me because maybe is my answer. When we first bought into DVC, we were broke. We saved cash. And this is sort of like the story of the starter home, which is kind of not a story that people can have anymore. So I apologize if this sounds incredibly privileged, what I'm saying. But back in 2012, you could do this. You could buy 60 points on the resale market. By the way, have all of the benefits. So you would still get all of the, access to the annual pass discounts and all of that, which now you don't get unless you buy direct from Disney. And we paid $55 per point for that contract. We used those points, and we actually used to love to stay at Vero Beach. Kind of outgrew Vero Beach, wanted more points, sold them, bought 100 points direct from Disney, bought an additional resale contract, and then that was the one that we just sold. And so we've sort of upgraded every time from that original investment, but we've made a profit every time that we've sold. So although we've added a little bit more money into the kitty when we've purchased, we've kind of just like, that was our starter DVC, then we upgraded to our middle DVC, and now we're somehow inexplicably at Riviera. So, could I buy DVC now? Like if I were starting fresh, I don't think I could justify the financial commitment of that kind of money, even if I had it in cash. So if you're financing, I 100% for sure do not recommend it. Don't do it. Stay off property. Stay in a moderate resort. You're not going to realize the savings if you are financing, especially if it's at a 7 or 8% interest rate. Like just don't do it. And again, I say don't do it. Live your best life. Don't whatever. Just, it's not a sound financial decision. However, it worked out for us, but knowing what I know now and with Disney stripping away a lot of the on-site benefits, I would be very content staying off property. I would be very content staying in a moderate. And I've told you guys, if you've watched any of my other videos, if you're okay staying in a moderate, I'm not sure the math checks out for you with DVC, even with the increased cost per night, because don't forget, the initial buy-in is higher than it's ever been, and those annual dues go up every year. So it isn't like you're locking in that price and the price doesn't go up. It does. Now, DVC tells you the goal is that the inflation of the rooms will go up faster than your dues. And I can 100% tell you that has been true up until now, but there's no guarantee that that will always continue to be true. And the main reason I wouldn't do it now is you're giving that money to Disney when you could be investing it, or you could be paying off part of your mortgage, or you could be paying off your vehicle, or doing any number of other things that would be of higher value to you financially. So Depending on your financial situation, DVC for a lot of people is a terrible idea. A timeshare for a lot of people is a terrible idea. If this was not what I do for my job, I'm not sure that this is something that I could recommend as a financial vehicle. Now, I do love the DVC properties, and I know a lot of people rent points. I don't like renting points for a variety of reasons, but you could easily stay in a villa off property if the kitchen and washer and dryer are important to you. But having said all that, if you're a person that always stays deluxe and you're spending $700 plus per night, at a deluxe resort, which is completely bonkers to me, this could make financial sense for you. But just remember that you're putting Disney in control of your money instead of you being in control of your money. And that does have a price. You are handing that over to them. And depending on maybe your vacation needs will change and things like that. So I think maybe. I do love Disney. I do love that we own. I've been incredibly happy with our membership, but I'm not one of those that is like, absolutely, DVC is great for everybody. I don't think it is great for everybody. And I think you really have to run the math for your family and your situation. And I think you really have to be able to plan really far in advance. For instance, the Tower Studios that I love, if I want those, I have to book them at 11 months to the day, even like maybe walking my reservation a little bit. So there's no messing around with that. To me, DVC is a terrible idea if you plan at the last minute. That has always been the case, now even more so, because the availability just is not there. And it's something I think you really need to think long and hard about before you invest all your money. I don't work for DVC, obviously. I don't work for any of the resale companies. I started this channel initially because it was just information about Disney Vacation Club that I could not find unless that person was selling me something. So we are just owners, and I make these videos for entertainment and for information. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you like what you see here, please subscribe to the channel. I have another great Disney trip coming up in just a few weeks that I'm going to be bringing you guys. I just finished a great Disneyland vlog series. And yeah, whatever you're doing, I hope you're being really good to each other. And I'll see you next time. Bye.